just with the way this motion's been defined with the House, we as opposition will run with proposition definition of the motion. But in this case, what we feel as team opposition that proposition has to prove is that the constant destruction of taking away green energy, as they choose to call it, will be less costly than further prevention. Now, moving on to my rebuttal. As team proposition mentioned that they'll be running with the alternative of nuclear energy. Now, nuclear power is a costly affair. As we have a nuclear plant in our own country, it is very hard for our government to actually fund this thing. It is very hard for them to be able to keep it up and running sufficiently, sustainably, and very hard for that power plant to be able to sustain our country and give us enough electricity as we need in the current day. Also, nuclear energy and nuclear plants have hazardous consequences. For example, as we have, there are leaks, there are explosions, and these things are costly and also detrimental. And in the fact that nuclear is hazardous to the people living around that environment, and cleaning up is a much costly affair than going green. Now, our burden to prove to the House today is that to prove that conservation in any form, the green form as team proposition would like to call it, is not a luxury, but a necessity for all citizens. Now, our case is as follows. I will be dealing with mandates and how conservation is a necessity, and my second speaker will be dealing with buy-in and accountability. And no, thank you, sir. And my third speaker will be rebutted. Now on to my positive matter. Basically, it is a government mandate to protect its people and to protect the rights of its citizens and so on. Now, we as citizens have a right to a protected environment, one that benefits us presently and in the future generations, which is through protection of conservation and to prevent pollution. Now, as we have in today's kind of situation, we see that I think the whole House concedes the fact that this environment needs a little bit of help. That we are in a crisis, within a situation where, no, thank you, sir. In a situation where the world as a whole is at a point where we need to put away costs and focus on saving the environment. We have things such as soil erosion and deforestation and pollution in all aspects, which affect not only our country but the world as a whole. Now, the issue is solving it might be costly, but we need to do something.
Ma'am, you're totally ignorant to the fact that these green energies are also very, very costly.
Yes, sir, but even though they are costly at an initial point, keeping them running is what our country can afford compared to the nuclear energy that you are advocating for, sir. Because nuclear energy is a costly affair. And the thing is, we right now need to, as a country, need to be able to do what we as a country are capable of doing. And if we are capable right now of using green energy, then that is what we need to do until we are able to reach the point where we can use alternatives such as your nuclear power. Now, as I was saying that, for example, the Industrial Revolution, as we all know, one where people built factories and created things, started developing themselves, expanding their cities and towns, resulted in consequences that were not seen then, but now 3 centuries later we have to clean up the mess. Now, basically this problem lies in the fact that once the side effects are seen, it's too late. Once we know that, oh, there's a big gaping hole in the ozone layer, it's too late. Now, we as a country need to be able to do with what we can afford, which is green energy. If we as a country can afford to give RDP houses solar geysers, then that is what we can do. The little we can do as a country is better than trying to put a lot of money into nuclear power. Now, as I was saying that once, now that we have to clean up this consequence of industrial revolution and what has been happening after that, we are now having to clean up all of these things. I'll take you there, sir.
The very fact that these green energies such as wind power, nuclear power, etc., not nuclear power, sorry, are not efficient means that they are more expensive than nuclear power at the end of the day. Can you please account for that?
So the problem is that nuclear power is expensive. Nuclear power has risks. And we as a country don't have the capability to clean up for those risks. We are now, as you can see, we are giving RDP houses solar energy. We see schools are going green, trying to develop their own things. We have Expo where people are developing their own cell phone chargers using solar power and so on and so forth. This is what our country can do at the moment. So we need to make sure that we do the best we can now. We cannot be trying to use nuclear power. As you can see, we have a nuclear power plant. No, thank you. So we have a nuclear power plant that our country is struggling to sustain and keep it up and running. Now, as we're looking at alternatives such as biofuels and these alternative energies, yes, initially to get them spread out is costly. But the thing is, maintaining it as our country is being able to do is the benefit. The problem with conservation is like Mandela's recurring lung infection. Because it was not treated in the beginning, we have to suffer the consequences and try and fix the problem. The same with the planet. Because it was not fixed a long time ago, we have to now do the best we can to fix the situation. Yes, sir.
Ma'am, surely you would agree that the problem is our dependence on coal, ma'am, and surely you would agree that nuclear power would provide more energy, so take off the dependence of coal more than these
okay,
other
thanks,
powers.
sir. The thing is, as I've been saying, we have a nuclear power plant in our country which is supposed to generate electricity. That is not generating enough electricity for the country compared to the coal power plant. We have a nuclear power plant. It is not doing what you are advocating for. That is why the country is investing their money in solar energy, wind power, because that is what they can afford, first of all, and that is what they can be able to keep, that is what they are able to keep up and running compared to the nuclear power plant that we currently have. Now, as I was saying, that as we are now left hanging to fix all of these consequences that we are now suffering, the alternatives, such as starting biofuels and these green hydro power plants and so forth, those are the initial cost may be detrimental, but the benefits, we need to look at that the benefits of going green and maintaining a green status is beneficial compared to the initial cost. Now, what have I shown to the House today is that the necessity of conservation, that we as a country, as a nation, need to start conserving the natural world in as best as we can. And if going green is the best that this country can do, that is what we have to do at the moment for the current situation. Therefore, I've also shown you how initial costs outweigh initial long-term benefits outweigh initial costs. Now, what we ask from side proposition to prove to us today is that what they're advocating for this nuclear power will become a very sustainable nature and will be able to outweigh and wipe out the competition of the green energy power that they're advocating for. Thank you.